Yo, week 16, Matt. The season's flying by. More injuries. Last week, we saw Mahomes and Parsons go down. Torn ACL confirmed. But I did already see that Patrick Mahomes already today started recovery, and they already put a timeline that he could be back to start the regular season next year, which is crazy. That's just how crazy
Yeah.
things are advance wise, right? Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, just like we saw Joe Burrow, come back on a quicker timeline this season already. It's good to see. I mean, I think I saw the report that it was a little bit more damage than they had first anticipated, but successful surgery, so it's just about recovery at this point. But um the script writers gotta figure out what they're doing because I think they're just relying on ACLs this year and Achilles injuries because it's just we're seeing it way too often. It's really crazy to see how many of these just devastating injuries we're getting, these past couple seasons.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Like, I know at the end of this season, there's normally one person that will do it. They track down all the injuries and relate it back to artificial turf or,
True.
grass. Right? I'd love to see that stat at the end of the season. All these injuries because it's, you know, we normally don't get this many superstars going down, but realistically, I mean, you think about all the guys, in the trenches, on special teams, everything else. Like, it's probably a good amount each year, and I think it's probably this season. It just seems to be hitting a lot of the bigger names.
Yep.
But Matt, this week, before we get into the fun stats, we have some explosive matchups, right? Some must-win games. I think you jotted down a couple that we have ahead of us here on the slate.
Yeah, we're starting off the week Thursday night of two.
What an awesome game!
It's crazy. 11-3, both of them 11-3, 11-3. This is going to be a great matchup. It kind of sucks that late in the season, they get the short turnaround, quick game right here because this is I mean, we hope that it's going to be a great matchup. So, yeah, the Rams and the Seahawks, this deserves to be in prime time, right? Because it's going to be a great matchup. We've got a lot of divisional games that really this end of the season it matters. We've got the Packers and the Bears for the North. That's going to be a huge matchup. We've got Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Yeah.
That really, they're even right now. That's going to decide it. They play twice in the back half of this season, so that's going to decide it. Pittsburgh Steelers got to hold off. Got the matchup with the Lions. Lions is a much must-win game for them as well.
Yeah.
Got the Pats who are just cruising, right? But playing the Ravens, who have a shot at winning that division. And then you said it, yeah, and I completely forgot about this one. 49ers against the Colts.
Yep.
Colts have to try to outlast this last half of the season too. So
yeah. And then how competitive that NFC West is with the 49ers. I mean, they can't really drop any more games, right? So it's a big one for them. We'll get right into the stats here, Matt. You mentioned the script writers. Pretty crazy stat for you. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes won 3 Super Bowls early in their careers and then tore their ACLs in their 9th season, with both teams missing the playoffs that year.
I saw that parallel, and it's crazy to think.
Same knee too.
I don't like it, but what does that mean? That means Mahomes has what, 4 more?
He's just gonna keep playing.
4 more Super Bowls because he's just gonna keep playing, and I mean,
yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. We'll be talking about this one quite a bit, but Travis Kelce is tight end number 2. He is closer to David Njoku at tight end number 28 than he is to tight end number 1, Trey McBride. Tight end number 2 being closer to tight end 28 than he is to tight end 1.
The stats that McBride is putting up this year are just mind-blowing. Yeah. Like, I don't get it how he can be. I mean, we knew going into the season, we thought he was going to be an elite tight end, but he's far surpassing that. It's crazy.
Yep. Jason Myers, not really being talked about that much, but Jason Myers has more fantasy points this season than Nico Collins, Chase Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. He would currently rank as the QB 20, running back 15, wide receiver 7, and tight end number 2 in fantasy football. Kind of just not being really talked about, right? Because Brandon Aubrey always gets all the attention.
Yep.
and Jason Myers just having himself a hell of a season. This one is crazy bad. I only bring this one up because me and you have been very big on picking teams after the buys, or we talked about how the Lions, they always have the bounce back week after a loss, stuff like that. We always keep kind of track, games after, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So this one, teams after facing the Chicago Bears and Denver Broncos. After playing the Bears, teams are 2-10-1. After playing the Broncos, 3-10. Now, Green Bay this week has played both of those teams in back-to-back weeks, and now they're going to Chicago on a primetime game on Saturday on a short week. That's crazy. Basically, if you play the Bears or the Broncos, you're 3-10. Like, you have a 3-10, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to think about. Like, you're 3-10, teams are 3-10 after playing the Bears or Broncos.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
I don't like it because I picked the Packers this week, so.
Yeah, sorry to give you that stat a little bit too late. But Matt, last year we saw a lot of stuff about Barkley, right? Barkley possibly going to break the rushing record, right? People talked about that extra game, right? It's going to be a record with an asterisk next to it. Myles Garrett, obviously we know is more than likely going to break the sack record. So the conversation is going to start with, he's played more games. So let me give you this stat. Myles Garrett is just a half sack behind TJ Watt and Michael Strahan for the record. Myles Garrett has been on the field for 437 pass plays. Strahan was on the field for 567 the year that he said it. And TJ Watt was on the field for 618 plays when he tied the record. So he's going to be on the field 100 plays less than TJ Watt probably when he breaks the record. Or more, 150.
Right.
So I just hope he sets it before 17 so that way there's no, ifs, ands, or buts. But kind of crazy. Myles Garrett is on a unbelievable just path. I mean, he really, and the team just doesn't even reflect. Usually when you have, a defensive end do that well, it's, correlates to the team, but unfortunately it does not.
Yeah, he's a beast. We talk about it all the time. It's crazy to see someone that can just disrupt a game. Obviously you need your offense to step in then after that. But yeah, I hope he breaks it. I mean, he's got the Bills, so it's going to be tough. But I feel like he can get, a sack or two, break the record now, and then you don't have that conversation of, is that extra game what sets him apart?
Yeah, absolutely. Some news that happened this week actually happened today. Dolphins will be benching Tua for the rest of the season. Dolphins are also entering permanent cap hell, Matt. Dolphins will be unable to get out of Tua's contract for a very long time. 2025, they owe Tua $39.1 million. 2026, they owe him $56.4 million. 2027, they owe him $53.4 million. And 2028, they owe him $65.8 million. So they owe Tua a lot of cash.
He's got a lot of guaranteed money too. That's a tough one, but
yeah.
Let's see. We got Quinn Ewers stepping in. Let's see how he does. Maybe they'll decide they made the wrong decision after, rookie quarterback stepping in. So
yeah,
I don't know why they're doing it, but
yeah, it's kind of, you just let him play at that point, right? It's just like, what is it going to do? To go back to the Trey McBride though, we obviously talked about how big of a gap it is from tight end 1 to tight end 2. It is kind of wild that most people are literally not talking about this at all, but Trey McBride is only 12 catches away from breaking the record for the most tight end receptions in a season. He's only 12. I mean, that's 6 catches. Not even. It was a 4 catches game to tie it. Like 16, 17,
I feel like he gets enough targets that, he actually should be able to hit that easy.
Yeah. So with all of the Trey McBride stats, I can't keep gassing up the Cardinals as much. So what I need to do is I need to bash them a little bit. And I found some absolutely crazy stats for the Cardinals. So if you're a Cardinals fan, I apologize. But Carson Palmer is the only quarterback to have a winning record on the Arizona Cardinals. Okay? Now that's where we're going to start, Matt. Another fun fact: the Arizona Cardinals could win out and then go 17-0 for the next 13 seasons. So they would be 224-0 and would still be 3 games under 500 all-time record.
That's so disappointing, but I'm a Lions fan, so I'm right there with you, Cardinals fans.
Yeah, if you need to message me, just let me know.
Yep.
We can get through this together. Dude, that is unbelievable, though. 13 seasons of going 17-0, which is never going to happen, right? But that is crazy to still be in that predicament. So very unfortunate. But Matt, you mentioned it. Thursday night football. Just
great start to
great
the week.
matchup. Great matchup. I took Seattle. NFC West winners is what I took, so they need to win this game. Simple as that. They are at home. I do love Seattle home. We saw Devontae Adams hamstring, and Puka, I believe, is like possibly trending to play. I think it's going to be more of a questionable type thing. That's what it seemed like. But yeah, huge blow for the Rams, but they're still such a loaded team. I could really see this game going either way. I'm sure you can as well. Should be a very, very good game, but I'm going to take the home team and the team that I picked to win the NFC West.
Yeah, I'm really down on Seattle right now. Like these past couple of games, Sam Darnold, after a hot start, just isn't quite. I mean, they're still getting the wins, right? But just not quite connecting like the juggernaut they looked like. Whereas on the other side, the Rams still just looks like they're firing on all cylinders. Stafford in this system is just lights out. So to me, that's why I'm siding with the Rams here. But I fully expect this thing to be a great game, come down to the wire on a good, Thursday night primetime game.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, too, that this game has got big implications on Stafford's first MVP here. This is a game that he's got to win the division and keep playing good football to win his first MVP, which, I mean, I wouldn't hate, but I'm also on the Drake May VP, so maybe not. Eagles at Commanders. This game is on Saturday. We have 2 Saturday games this week. So they gave the shittier matchup the earlier one, which is fair enough. I totally get it. Jayden Daniels done for the year, I believe, is what we were told.
Yep.
Eagles, obviously they look good last week. It's the Raiders. It's the Raiders, but at the same time, Matt, as much as you know, sometimes those games are the important games to just get the team rolling in the right direction. And that's what they did. They got the ball moving, scored some touchdowns. Defense looked good. And I kind of expect the same exact thing here is just keep it rolling. They can possibly clinch the NFC East here with a win, I believe. Is a win, or some other things can happen too if we end up losing and whatever Dallas loses to or something like that. But obviously it feels good when you win and then you walk away the NFC East champions and kind of gets that momentum and maybe the locker room vibes a little bit better than they've been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I like to see. You saw the deep ball to the DeVonta Smith, which was nice. I love seeing that again. You've been seeing it to AJ Brown recently. I love that when he just airs it out. It's good to see again against the Raiders, but I like the fact that because this is normally the scary game, right? When you're at Washington, this is the one that you might lose, right? So the fact that they've made the decision, staying away from, to protect Jayden Daniels, I like that for the Eagles here. It's in a better spot. But Eagles, again, yes, you got the win last week handily. You have to create that momentum in the end of the season because we've seen this stretch of just, very poor play. I was going to say mediocrity, but it's almost lower than that, right? So trend in the right direction these last 3 games. Figure it out because you can't play like that in the playoffs. You're going to just get bounced. So if they want to do this, very difficult back-to-back type run, they really got to figure it out. I mean, and they get a chance to play Commanders twice, right? So
16 and 18.
Yep. So, those are good games to still try to figure this thing out.
Yeah. How'd you like Dallas Goedert too, dude? Little tight end. Actually, he had a chance for 3. If you were watching the game, Dallas Goedert caught 2 and he dropped a 5-yard touchdown wide open, like one of those
Yeah.
play actions, and they just let him go. There was no one even by him, and he just literally dropped it in his hands. It was
Did
like,
he just
oh my gosh.
did he just alligator arm it or something?
Yeah,
Like
he
he
just
just
kinda, like, fumbled, and couldn't get it
ugh.
back, but it would've been 3 touchdowns for him on the day, so, one thing about the Eagles I will say real quick is they're still on pace to have A.J. Brown 1,000 yards, Devontae Smith 1,000 yards, Dallas Goedert, 10 touchdowns, and Saquon Barkley 1,000 rushers, so, yes, we are not playing great, but, like, most teams would die to have what I just mentioned, right? So,
Yep.
it's an interesting situation that they're in, but like you said, favorable matchups, get the ball moving in the right direction, keep the offense hot, and then go into playoffs with some confidence. But Saturday night gonna be a fun one to sit down and watch for sure. Um, they flex this one out to Saturday nights. Green Bay at Chicago. I gave you the stat about Green Bay. Our team is playing the Bears and the Broncos, and obviously Green Bay just played both. So I like it. I think there's a little bit of grittiness to this game. Obviously Green Bay without Parsons, that's a huge blow to the defense.
Yep, definitely.
Chicago playing in Chicago, when it's in Chicago and it's in Green Bay, I feel like this specific matchup has less of an advantage towards it because they're both used to playing in absolutely just terrible cold weather. So that wasn't really why it swayed me this way. More so just the fact of Parsons out, but also Matt, we saw Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur at the quick little
Right.
so Ben is drawing up some stuff here. Ben's drawing up some stuff here. He wants the NFC North title. That would be a huge, which may be a hot take, but I think if Ben Johnson wins the NFC North with the Bears, I think that's coach of the year over Mike Vrabel because you look at who the Bears have played and who they've beat in the division that they're in versus Mike Vrabel. It's like, yeah, they went 1-1 against the Bills, but other than that, they didn't play. I mean, had the worst schedule in the league, right? So, I'm not saying it's not an impressive turnaround, but I just think Ben Johnson, first time head coach, not a
Yeah.
profound head coach that was in the playoffs, AFC championships, multiple. Like, I think it's just a little bit different. I think you can make a case for Ben Johnson, coach of the year, especially if they can get a big win against Green Bay here.
Yeah, these last 3 games for them definitely are gonna decide that because they have a chance right here. They could have a historic collapse, and Lions can sneak in, or they can be the master of their own destiny and win the North. And you're right. Then obviously the coach is the one that gets that success. To me, Josh Jacobs just has a chance to just take over this game. I saw him on a route last week. Runs out of the backfield and catches like he's a wide receiver. Made a great touchdown catch. He's the one that to me can just get going, and he's the one that can take over a game like this. We'll see the flashy stuff out of the Bears, but I think the Packers are going to be generally ready for that. And this might be a nice slugfest, and especially when everything the North is on the line. I think we're going to see it all there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Sunday, got the noon slates. Bills at Cleveland. Honestly, a more important game for the Bills than most people realize. Like, yes, it is the Browns, but the Bills have played down to their opponents a lot. They did it again last week too, where it was like, are they going to lose this game? I don't know if you saw, but I mean, the Patriots they were up to like 2-3 possessions again, and it was like,
yeah, another
man, they're going to do it, and so. But it's just one of those you can't. That's not a playoff success. You're not going to have success chasing 2 possessions because teams just eventually it's not going to work out in your favor, right? So this is a game for them that I still see them winning by all means. But Matt, you mentioned it, right? Sunday Night Football. It's Patriots at Baltimore, and I believe you win Baltimore. I could be wrong, but either way, there's going to be people that pick Baltimore, and so if that's what you think. That's the Patriots' loss. With the Bills win here, they're still split against the the Patriots. So this is more of an implication of, does Josh Allen want to win the AFC East? And so I think this is a game where you can see him take over in. But I'm still kind of like hoping to see a Myles Garrett sack because all he needs is one, right? He's have to tie it, but a full sack to break it. So maybe Josh could maybe just let him get it out of the way real quick and then.
Right, at the beginning of the game when it doesn't quite matter yet. Yeah, that'd be, what I want to see is Shedeur Sanders have a little bit of success here, right? I want to see him, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up in this game, but I want to see out of these first couple drives, just literally go to Fannin every time if you have to, or, just hand the ball off. I don't care. But if you can manage this game, at least in the first quarter, you're setting yourself up for, that confidence that he has right now. I don't want to see the Bills just absolutely railroad him because then that's going to be, tough for the Browns organization. But yeah, I mean, we're both going with the Bills here because of this matchup. And like you're saying, Bills have a chance to take over. I think, I had them. Let me just double check. Yep. We had, I think we both probably had them for the East, right? Or did you,
Yeah, we both had them East. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nice game to get under your belt here.
Yep. Absolutely. Then the Chargers at the Cowboys. We both took the Chargers here. Still a big win for them. They're gonna be blocked into a wild card spot here. Unfortunately, they dropped too many games early on. I mean, you talked about it. They start off so hot, that 4-0 stretch they had. 3 of those were divisional games, and then they lost to the Giants. Then they lost. I mean, it was just a handful of losses that they should not have had back to back to back. Injuries galore. But they'll still be a wild card team. Hopefully that offensive line gets healthy. But Dallas losing a game to Minnesota last week. I don't know how that happened.
I loved that fake field goal play. I really thought he was going to throw it though. I don't know what tight end was breaking out on that one. I swear he had him open. He should have just thrown it. But you see the huge kicks from Aubrey, but you also saw him, do a little bit of a wild card type play. So, yeah, but at the end of the day, they lost to Minnesota. Made JJ McCarthy look like an elite quarterback all of a sudden again. So I think Herbert has a chance to make that defense look stupid now here as well.
Yeah. And then Chiefs at Tennessee. I still went with the Chiefs even with Mahomes out for the season. People forget Gardner Minshew was not that bad of a quarterback with Jacksonville. He's obviously been under or behind Mahomes for a little bit. Still behind him, learning, doing all the stuff. He's a vet. So I just like it. There's really no reason for either of these teams to go out and try to win, besides Andy Reid just trying to have a above 500 record.
True.
But I do think people that have Travis Kelce, I do think this is a really good week to have Travis Kelce. It's a favorable matchup against Tennessee. And Matt, as you know, a lot of these guys come in and that's the guy. So we saw Minshew come in and I think he targeted Kelce 3-4 times right away. So I think we're going to see maybe Kelce get peppered a little bit, especially if this is any indication that it might be his last few games of his career here.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, what a way to have to finish the season if that is the case.
Maybe a couple 100-yard games,
There you go. I don't know. To me, in my mind, I was dead set on, these past couple weeks, just finally pull the trigger and go against the Chiefs. I forgot they have the Titans here at the end, but I'm sticking with it. This might not be. I'm not going to die on this hill. If the Titans don't pull it off, I'm not going to be upset. But they've been looking decent. They've been hanging around some of these games. They just can't finish, and obviously that shows that the rookie quarterback just can't quite get it done. But so to me, you've got a depleted. You lose your superstar, you lose your captain. That's got to be demoralizing. And you saw it in the presser. They're questioning Chris Jones. Asking him, how do you finish the season out? And he started to say, we still got a fighting chance. And then the reporter says, "Oh no, you guys are out of the playoffs." And he just kind of had that, the look of, oh, okay. So I think that's got to resonate with them too, is they literally have nothing more to play for. Whereas the Titans, you've got a rookie quarterback trying to figure this out. So maybe this is one of those games where, you feel good about the season, you can beat the Chiefs towards the end of the season, then it makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, you win. You go 3-14, but at least you took out
You
Andy
beat the
Reid, the
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of talks that maybe Andy Reid, Bates, because I mean, if
that'd be interesting.
Mahomes misses 6 games, 8 games next year, I mean, they say, like I said, they say he's gonna be ready for week 1, but things happen and it delays the timeline, and whatever. They already came, like you said, they already went into the surgery. It was more than they expected, so there could be bumps in the road that extends it. And does he want to go into a season without a star guy 8 games in? Like, can they go and battle?
So you heard it here first. Joe Flacco to the Chiefs. Fill that gap for those how many games it needs to be.
Jameis Winston, please.
Actually, I do like that one. That'd be nice.
Jameis Winston would be a lot. He'll make the Chiefs tolerable.
Can you imagine him and Travis Kelce though in the same huddle?
That's if Kelce doesn't retire.
True.
So he's getting married. He might be done for. Jets at the Saints though, just kind of a rough one.
Yeah, not a
fun one to look at, not a fun one to watch.
But how about these Saints? They're winning a couple games. They're looking like they know how to play football for no reason. Yep, just moving.
Fire Kellen Moore so that way we can fire Kevin Patullo, and then we can get Kellen Moore back and then run it back. Easy. We both took the Saints.
Not a bad idea, but
take who you want. There's really, I mean, it's literally a coin toss. Like, because the Jets can show up and play, but they're starting that rookie Brady Cook or whatever the hell his name is, and he threw 3 interceptions. It's like, it's a first rookie matchup with some of the worst teams in the league. It's like, it might just be a shootout. It might just be a 7-10. It might be a 6-3. Like, who knows? But we both want the Saints.
Yep.
But an interesting matchup next is Minnesota at New York. I thought I might find you on this side. I thought maybe I might. Obviously, I think we both went Giants last week, and it didn't work out for us.
Yep.
But I don't know. Giants defense is way better than the Cowboys. Cowboys is literally 32nd against the pass, and then Commanders 29 against the pass. Those are 2 of JJ's better games that he had all season, and he still didn't reach 300. So it's been 160 something and like 240 something or 250 something. So the Giants pass rush and D-line have been very good. They are good. I just see this being another game where he struggles. I mean, he can't even. I mean, this is the lowest. I think it's like 5 straight games where Jefferson has like under 10 fantasy points. I don't know if that's ever happened in his career. And he's on the field running routes. 8 targets last week, 2 catches. So I just don't get how you can get your tight end number 3 involved, but you can't get the best receiver in the league involved. It doesn't make any sense. So this is more so me I have zero confidence in McCarthy doing anything against an above average defense. I'm not saying the Giants are top 10, top 5, nothing like that. But anytime JJ McCarthy's played a team that's not bottom 10 in defense, he is terrible. So kind of that same thing. And Jackson Dart still has that fire. Like, he just does. Like, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to go out and play football and win. And so I could see that just being one of those things where it's just like one last win in New York and he goes for 2-3 touchdowns. Like,
yeah, no, I like it. I'm looking at the other side. I'm looking at it's the Vikings defense that I think is the superior side of that. To me, had a great first half of the season in defense. That's where I think wins them this game is the defensive side of it. I can see them forcing a turnover, with Dart trying to make that hero play, that hero run, knock the ball loose. Or if he tries to force a play a little bit too much, they get that interception. To me, that's why I sided with the Vikings here. After seeing, you're right, not quite enough out of JJ McCarthy. But to me, I think enough to manage a game as long as your defense, they were able to stifle the Cowboys, right? Who we've seen as a juggernaut offense this season. So I think they can do that to the Giants on the defensive side.
That's fair. And then another one we're split on. is the Tampa at Carolina. I flip flopped a handful of times. I couldn't decide. Um, I just Tampa's burnt me a
Yeah,
lot, a lot,
absolutely.
a lot this week or this year, and the Panthers have won some games that it was like wow, like we forget they beat the Packers in Lambeau, like so they've had like some wins where they were like wow, that was a good football team. And I think it kind of starts like we talked about, getting Rico Dotto, getting Chuba Hubbard, both of them just going and feeding the hot hand and everything else. And I think it whatever, but you know, it's just been a really weird Bucks. I just don't know if Baker's 100% healthy. I just don't. And I
Yeah.
think if you're Carolina, you're at home against a struggling team that's trying to figure out what's going on, and this is possibly the NFC South. So, and you already just dropped the game and that's what kind of sucked about picking them was they dropped the game last week to the Saints. It's just like, what
Yeah.
was that? That was their one. They should be 8-6 going into this. Instead, they're tied. They really could have made a jump on the Bucks here. But I had to go with the home team, even though my gut was telling me the Bucks. I just been burnt on them too much. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I love seeing Mike Evans back out there. You saw him throw up just a jump ball. I think from the start, I don't remember when exactly that play was, but literally Baker just chucks it up to him, and he kind of just mosses the guy and just pulls it out. That was a nice play.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have that option again. It's nice having Bucky Irving back, but yeah, they got to do something. You can't drop a game to the Saints. And especially now here when division on the line. So, we talked about it. They play them twice. They got to decide if they're going to try to win this or not. They got to win these matchups. To me, I think Baker is the quarterback I trust over Bryce Young. So, I do want to see Rico, absolutely dominate because, I'm in my fantasy semis, and I do need him to just step up and dominate. But to me, it's kind of that up down theory on the Bucks of you lose a very bad game like that to the Saints. Now when it matters, you got to step up and win this game.
Yep. And then we have the Bengals at Dolphins, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If Tua was starting this, I think I might consider it.
It'd be tough, yeah.
I think it changes the whole narrative that he's not. And that I feel like is crazy in itself, because if the Dolphins are from the standpoint of, well, he's done the year now, we're going to bench him the rest of the year, and then their chances get slimmer, it's like, why are you benching him then? Like, it's got to be a draft pick like type of thing. Like, it has to be. Maybe he's got an injury or something, or they're just going to shut him down. They're going to shut him down because they're paying him so much money and they're out. Like,
with his head injuries, right? I mean, literally every time he's out there, it could be end of his career. So I get it from that standpoint, but the way they did it is almost like they're literally benching him. Like, it's not it's not like Jaden Daniels.
We're
shutting him down.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what my thought process was too.
Yeah, so that's the tough part of this.
But why not just say you're shutting him down? Like, why not? Like, is it league thing? Like, because then that's tanking. It wouldn't not be. Can teams not say, like, so maybe they had to just be like, maybe they pull them aside like, hey, we're gonna shut you down, but we have to label it as this, like, because dude, you have
an interesting
I mentioned all the money they owe him, that you don't just like, you don't just do that. But at the same time, Bengals are still going with Joe Burrow. And I don't know if you saw, but he's been in the press a lot lately, and it does not seem like he wants to play football. We mentioned it last week, and then today, it might have been yesterday when I heard it, but I think it was actually today, Wednesday, when we were recording this. Burrow mentioned a reporter asked him, like, would you ever consider playing for another team? And he just said, like, there's a lot of questions I've been asking myself. It's like, so he didn't say, like, I want to be a Bengal. Like, I've seen trade rumors of Minnesota giving him 3 first rounds. I've seen the Eagles swapping quarterbacks and giving them 2 firsts and like Cooper DeJean or something. Like, I've seen all types of crazy like reports, and it's like, That would be crazy. I mean, one thing that I think I mentioned it last week to you, was Stafford wins MVP, goes a little deep in playoffs, maybe makes. I mean, if they have Devontae Adams and Puka healthy, that I got asked today, who's your favorite right now for the Super Bowl? I think it's the Rams. I think when the Rams are playing healthy, good football, no one can stop them. Right now, the Rams are extremely dangerous. I'll take Sean McVay and the Rams over any team, including the Eagles, right now, by a mile.
That's
So
fair.
if Stafford wins MVP, wins Super Bowl, heads off, into the sunset, and
Might be it. Yeah.
then Joe Burrow heads on over to LA.
That,
Big market.
that'd be
I mean,
scary.
great weapons. He goes from Jamar Chase, T Higgins to Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because he got there, right? He got to the Super Bowl. Other than that, he's been hurt.
yeah, but this organization has proven though that they don't want to give him any help, and
Yeah.
LA's proven they'll take a jump for their guy. Like, they gave him how many draft picks to get, to get Stafford over there, and it helped you guys out, right? But
Yep.
they gave up a lot of value in those picks, and they still have Jared Verse, and they still have all these guys that Sean McVay just worked around. It's like, who's to say he doesn't do it again?
Yeah. No, to me, I mean, I think this year we've pushed guys to success, and we've also called them out, and then all of a sudden they've had this. Burrow was my MVP pick. How'd that work out this season, right? So something's going on with him. He's definitely kind of having this inner monologue of, what am I going to do with my life right now? And he's at that position right now where, does he want to go out there and kind of prove to this organization and maybe everybody else that he's got it? He just needs to, have a change of scenery or stay healthy, right? So that's why, because I was contemplating this one, because he's my quarterback. I stuck with him. I haven't had him on my IR for my home league. Kept him in that IR spot. I'm glad I did for the last 2 weeks before that, but this last week was bad. I'm in the semis in that one, and I thought about this one. Do I trust him of actually going out there and balling, or is he just gonna have a mediocre game now that the rating's on the wall? So I don't know. Let's hope some of these midweek pressers are a little bit better than what we just, like you said, just saw with being asked about his future. Before he answers, it's not fun right now, and that's tough to see. So
Yeah, at least he's being honest too, especially with his performance. I mean, he just talked about that was the worst start that he's ever had. So it's I don't know what your other option is, but I do like a little bounce back here. I think Miami punts the ball a lot with a new quarterback under center. So I think the ball gets put in his hand a lot, and I think it just gives him an opportunity to just nothing special, but 280, 2 touchdowns. I think you take that, right? It just nice and
So we're going to get to that matchup in a sec, but so I ended up picking up Jacoby Brissett as my second option. So
that's tough. That's brutal.
It's going to be a tough one. I like both matchups, to be honest. So, hopefully I can get to the championship, and then I got to make a decision from there.
Yeah. And then we have the Jags at Denver. We both went Jags here, and it's definitely going to be an unfavorite pick.
Right? I mean, so you have hopefully same thought process as me. Is I'm high on the Jags right now. Jags are looking like a team. Broncos, obviously, it's tough to bet against them when they're 12-2. But I think it's more so they're kind of holding off on some of these games, getting the win, whereas the Jags are kind of just playing great football, stepping up and winning these games. So yeah, I'll take this is the good matchup where I'm comfortable picking the underdog of, I really think they have a good chance of taking over this type of game.
Yeah, I mean, you sent it to me. It wasn't in the beginning fun stats, but Trevor Lawrence, the only player in NFL history with 5+ passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 50 rushing yards in a single game. So that was by far his best performance ever as an NFL starter.
Yep.
And they're getting guys back healthy. I mean, Jacoby Myers is who would have thought that would have been? We debated Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter, right? And that's something that's
Sure.
not even to talk about, right? They took Travis Hunter so early, and here they are 10-4 leading the AFC South um, without their top pick, right? So, kudos to Liam Cohen because, I mean, I know that Travis Hunter as a DB, he was playing very well for them, and then kind of having that explosive games for them offensively against certain matchups. So I'm sure it would be really nice to have BTJ and Jacoby Myers and Travis Hunter and then Brendan Strange back healthy,
Yeah.
running the duel, ETN, Facial Tootin. I mean, they've got a lot of things rolling for them. Um, it is crazy that we both decided because I just don't feel like I've given Denver there's something about them to me. I called it out earlier 4 or 5 weeks ago that they were pretenders, not contenders, and I still am just not completely sold, and I know last week was a really big win for them. I know you picked them, and I had Green Bay, like you said, it was more of a you just didn't want Green Bay to win that game more than it
Yep.
was, believing it. So even that, and you saying it is, you went with Denver last week, they win, and then you go against them against a lesser team, maybe, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just so interesting with the Broncos. It's just they're such an interesting team. Most people don't even realize that Bo Nix is number 4 right now in odds for MVP, and I would not believe that if it weren't true. If I didn't know that, I'd be like, "You're
Yeah.
lying," because right now it's Stafford, it's Drake May, Josh Allen, Bo Nix. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe we're just not giving them enough credit, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're not sold on them. We want the Chargers to be AFC West champs so bad that we just can't.
Yeah, we've got a blind spot for him.
We got a
Maybe I don't
blind
know.
spot. Yeah, I don't know, and I could still see them winning the AFC West, but I think they get knocked out really early in playoffs. I don't think they're just like you said, they hang around games and then they sneak away with it at the end, and I don't think it's gonna be enough where the Jags just they feel like the team where if the Jags come out the team that they've been playing, I think Denver's gonna be caught off guard a little bit, but the Jags also have that other side of them where it's like, if Denver finds that other side, it's definitely Denver's game to win, so
Yeah, yeah. What Trevor Lawrence are you gonna get here? Because yeah, that was a dominant performance. That's crazy. Obviously NFL record setting performance, right? But it's tough. Bashal Tutin's gonna be out this game, which I think just bodes well for ETN of being able to take over the game because I really like him as a running back as it is. So um, I don't know. This is one I'm glad you're on my side on this one that we're both kind of thinking this way. But if the Jags kind of revert back to that team that we've seen also during the season, then it's going to be a tough one.
yeah. Then we have Atlanta playing Arizona here. You went with Atlanta. I went with Arizona. Obviously, Atlanta getting a big win against the Bucks on Thursday Night Football. But I don't know, man. We've talked about it. Atlanta is like the exact opposite of Denver, where we have been so against Atlanta,
Yeah.
and every single time we go against them, they win. And I mean, it burned us both on Thursday night last week. And I just I don't know. I literally I know it's not a great choice going with the Cardinals. Um, but I mean, obviously you picked up Jacoby Brissett, and he's been QB1 for like the 4 or 5 of his starts there. He was QB1 in all of his starts.
Yeah,
Obviously the last 2 weeks he's
he's
struggled a
been
little
a
bit,
top
but
12. He's been a top 12 quarterback still.
yeah.
Um,
And I think this is a game where he can put up some points, and I just don't know if Atlanta can keep up. I don't know if Atlanta can, because the Cardinals game isn't going to be lock them down, play defense. It's not going to be that, right? It's going to be Trey McBride, Jacoby Brissett. Like it's going to be the whole thing. So I think this is just one of those tricky games, I guess, and that's why I went with the Cardinals because this is like one where they shouldn't win and then they do. Like I
right.
just think it's really crazy because if you remember, Matt, the Cardinals were 2-0 to start. And we mentioned how, like, they should not be that record,
Right.
and then now we're looking at them, and it's 3-11, so it's really crazy. That's my favorite part about these graphics is just being able to have this information in front of us, to look at it. Because sometimes you forget, like, man, they were 2-0. Like, they snuck by 2 teams early on, and we were like, "Wow, they should be 0-2." And if that were the case, they'd be
Right.
1-13 right now, dude. So, yeah, that's just my thing. I don't know. Brissett and McBride get it done. Maybe we see McBride get the NFL record just this weekend here. 13 catches, breaks the NFL record. this season or this weekend.
It can easily happen against the Falcons, but I kind of like what I saw. Our favorite tight end, Kyle Pitts.
I told you it was his year.
Decided to dominate. It was a great performance.
You want to know a fun stat about that I just know right off the top of my head?
Let's hear it.
So Kyle Pitts on Thursday Night Football scored 8% of his career fantasy football points just on Thursday Night Football. 8%. He's been in the league for 5 years. 5 years? 6 years? 5? I think it's 5. I think it's 5. I think 4 or 5, and I think it's interesting because he is a free agent now. So he is kind of just, not to throw you off your thing though, but he's been having explosive weeks with Kirk Cousins the last couple. Which is like, where was this last year, right? Like Kirk Cousins was the starter last year. Where was this last year? Why didn't he just target him so many times last year? But really interesting though, because I mean, if you're Kyle Pitts, this is perfect. You're blowing up right at the end of it, and you're like, this is who they drafted me to be. Now, where can I go that's actually going to maximize my talent? And so it's going to get real interesting.
I mean, honestly, we joke about it, but he's a guy that does have talent. He never actually performs, never actually shows.
And we see them limit Bijan too. Like we see them some weeks where like, where the hell was Bijan at? Like, why is Tyler Algier or whatever the hell his name is? Why is he?
You got to write that down.
Like, bro, like, so Atlanta's offense is very confusing because that's how it is sometimes. It's like some weeks it's Bijan's not even there, and it's like he's so talented. How is he not getting 30 touches a game? Like, so I would love to see him go to the Bills, like somewhere he just could absolutely thrive. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is his year, just like we say every week, right?
Every week, not even every year, just every week.
It's
Kyle Pitts' year. Give me the rundown though.
I mean, so I love what I saw last week. Like I said, I've been following him because I've got Bijan. So I like what they do when they do actually get in the ball. Obviously a lot of the times it's in the passing game. Seems like those, I guess went to Kyle Pitts last week, but Kirk Cousins is trying to show that he can still play quarterback in this league.
So he can play for the Chiefs next year.
Yep, there you go. These are the games that he's got to win, to try to get a starting job next year. So give the ball to Bijan. He can take over a game. Don't give it to Algier on the goal line, please. Do not do that to me. And maybe we will see another performance out of Pitts. Obviously they're comfortable with each other. So throw it to Pitts and then give it to Bijan. And I think you can beat a Cardinals team that has no defense, and Jacoby Brissett can only play so well with McBride. Eventually, a game like this where they both kind of suck, one of the teams has to win. So sticking with the Falcons.
Fair enough. And then we have Pittsburgh at Detroit Lions. Big matchup, as you said earlier in the episode, Matt. I'm back on this side for you.
Thank you.
Obviously last week I just had, I had the itch.
I don't know
what it was. Yeah, I had
you.
the itch. Next week, like I said, I'm fully okay with you going the Bills. Just a disclaimer. Like next week, Eagles, Bills, like and we see we'll have to see what the Eagles do, but like, I wouldn't even hate you for it. I get it. But like I said, I would feel better if it just was right, so that way I didn't look bad. But I'm back on the Lions side. Quick rant. Matt, we'll spoil. Maybe you want to spoil it a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, let's spoil it a little bit. Okay, so we went a little crazy on the parlay. We got a little crazy with it. I wanted to save the fun stat for you guys when the Lions game showed up. But we're taking Jahmyr Gibbs 2+ touchdowns this week. I am, not Matt's. I know if you guys look at the parlay, you're gonna think Matt made both picks, if I'm being honest with you.
Right.
It's just two of Matt's favorite guys. Week 9, Matt, Gibbs, 0 touchdowns. Week 10, Gibbs, 3 touchdowns. Week 11, 0 touchdowns. Week 12, 3 touchdowns. Week 13, 0 touchdowns. Week 14, 3 touchdowns. Last week against the Rams, 0 touchdowns. So I'm calling it. Gibbs, multi-touchdown game. Lions get back in the win column. And I just think they dominated. I think the Steelers defense is, we've mentioned how much they've been on the field. I think they're exhausted. Um, I don't think they're getting that whole freak accident with TJ Watt. I don't know if you saw that. Like that was like the Tyrod Taylor thing all over again. Like
I know another weird,
another staff induced iron or lung collapse, like or whatever the hell happened. So, I mean, you would know it more than me because I don't follow the Steelers. Like, probably not playing. Like, probably done for a little while because that's something that's probably not a quick recovery from.
Yeah,
so,
something you have to monitor because obviously it's not safe to go out there at half capacity for your lungs.
And I think that's amazing for you guys. I think that's terrible for the Steelers, but I think you guys at home after a loss, I love all of that. I mean, the record still stands, right? You guys haven't lost a game after a loss. So I think that streak continues. It's simple as that. Gibbs goes up, puts up a bunch of points. St. Brown, touchdown. He looked great last week, even though couldn't get the job done. Goff looked good last week, even though you guys couldn't get the job done. So I just think this is the one you guys get back in the win column and keep your NFC North hunts on the rise.
Yeah, I mean we literally have to win these last 3 games. So back against the wall, coming off a loss. I think this is one that I think I say it every week when we're coming off of this, where we can put up 45 points, 52 points, just by ourselves. I think we almost have to have that mentality of we just literally have to play lights out, just show that we've got it, because last week was a tough loss to have, as you're going through the end of the season where every game matters. So like you're saying, the trend continues with Gibbs because that's where the success comes from. If you can have a success in the run game, and especially with him, because he breaks out some crazy runs, right?
Yep.
It opens up the rest of the game. Playing for Amon-Ra and for Jameson Williams. I every week I love seeing what they're drawing up for him because he is so fast. It is ridiculous. So like what you've talked about before with this Steelers defense, being out there on the field so much, you're not going to be able to keep up with Gibbs or Jameson Williams or Amon-Ra, cutting up the middle. You can't stick with them. So I fully expect them to come out firing. That's why I loved when you picked Gibbs 2 touchdowns. I love that because I do see 4 or 5 touchdowns getting scored here. So I like being a part of that, taking 2 of those for Gibbs.
Absolutely. And I think it goes to show you -7. I mean, against 8-6, right? So it's a little weird to see that when you're talking about the AFC North, leaders, and they're +7 going in this matchup. So it's not ideal. Yep. Next matchup, simple as that, Texans, right? Their defense. I mean, if
defense
Raiders
all day,
couldn't score on the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles, to be fair, I shouldn't say that because the Eagles are number 1 in so many categories when it comes to defense. But the Texans are the best thing on the defensive side of the ball right now. So really 2 tough matchups for Kenny Pickett to have to try to come in and play if he's getting a start again. Right. But love the Texans in this matchup. Love the defense. I think we both. I don't know if I think we both picked the AFC South for. I don't know if we both. I know I did. I picked Texans for sure.
I had Texans as well.
Early on, we didn't think it was going to happen, but it's trending in the right direction. Big win for the Texans here. Sunday Night Football though, Patriots at Baltimore. I had to go the Patriots. Matt, they burned us on the matchup. The Ravens did. They burned us on the matchup against the Bengals the first time around. And then we picked the Bengals, and the Ravens burned us again. So I was like, you know what? Fuck the Ravens.
Yeah.
No, I think it's an important game. We mentioned it with the Bills, how they got to be the Browns because if the Patriots drop this game, they're right there with them, and they want the AFC East. I just think this is a big win for the Drake May VP. I'm still holding on to it. It was $50 to win like $500, so I would really like to win that. That'd be cool, but probably not if Stafford keeps it up. But either way, I still really like this matchup for the Patriots. They've gotten ahead last week on the Bills, just like the Bengals did before that against the Bills, and then the Patriots did the same thing, and then they let them sneak back up and creep right back in, and Josh Allen did his thing. So I don't think that's the case here. I think if you see the Patriots get up the way they've been getting up on teams early, that's where we've seen Baltimore struggle. And I think that's where I stuck with this is Baltimore has gone a couple games this season where the team just came out firing and Baltimore could not answer. We just have not seen that team, the Baltimore team, be the Ravens. We haven't seen Lamar be Lamar. We've seen sneak peeks of Derrick Henry, but really the storyline this season is where's Lamar? Because he is just, I mean, we talked about, 2 years ago, MVP runner up last year. A lot of people thought he should win back to back MVPs. And this year, it's just nothing. I mean, he's just every week, there's just nothing on the stat sheet for him. So it's very interesting. I saw a stat. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like 3-4 games with no touchdowns for him. Like, that's very, very uncommon for Lamar Jackson, especially because he's just that dual threat quarterback. So I just have very little faith in the Ravens. I really do. And I just think that was a fluke game for the Patriots. They really needed that one. Obviously would have separated them in that AFC East, but I think this one they get up early and the Ravens just don't figure out how to bounce back.
Yeah, I like the fact that this is a primetime game.
Especially when Vrabel and Henry,
I like it.
A little bit, yeah.
So to me, the difference is, my theme this week is you're looking at these matchups where you literally have to win this. So to me, Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches out here, he's going to get his guys ready for a primetime game like this, knowing that you have to win this game, right? So to me, I think he can get a superstar ready to actually, play this type of game. Now, I'm not saying I'm down on the Pats at all, right? I love your pick here because they have been dominant. We love them this season, but to me, they've shown that they do have some weaknesses. To me, it's the Ravens that can step up when literally their season is on the line. So that's the edge I give them here on a primetime game of them knowing what's in front of them and they have to win it.
Yep. It should be a good Sunday Night Football game. And then Monday Night Football to end the week for us. We got the 49ers at the Colts. I think this is, I think -6.5 kind of shows it, especially for an 8-6 team here. It's 49ers should have no problem winning this game. I don't have a lot of faith in Philip Rivers after what I saw. I think I could probably throw the football a little bit farther and harder than he can.
We almost saw the magic happen, right? That was a weird game.
Yeah.
To where they almost won it, but obviously he didn't look. He does
120
not
yards. Yeah, it's not.
He doesn't look like let me put it this way. He went out there and he played football and he didn't fall flat on his face. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid they're throwing this 44-year-old guy out there and he's just going to throw 4 picks and, maybe get sacked and not get up, right? He didn't do that. He actually put together a game plan where they had a chance to win.
Yeah.
To me, it's tough that you let Seattle still within a minute, still kick a field goal there. To me, that's the embarrassing side of it, that he had him in a position to win. But you can't do that. You can't do that against, a 49ers team here. I don't think you're going to be within a field goal shot like you were last week.
Yeah, so, I think if Daniel Jones was still healthy, I think I still take the 49ers this one. And that doesn't say though that Philip Rivers doesn't have some, I don't want to call it a bounce back week, but I mean, they just signed him, man, and they went to practice squad and he hasn't been thrown, and then he went out and almost beat Seattle. Like, so maybe just give him some more time, you know what I mean, to get back into the rhythm of things and get back into a little bit of football shape. I mean, you give a guy 2-3 weeks that's done this before. I mean, they know what to do. They know what they need, So maybe just let him get back in that routine. And, I think if you're a Colts fan, maybe just not throw this whole season out yet. Because, right. I just think he needs to move the ball. Like I said last week, 220, 240, don't turn the ball over. Just throw enough. That way the defense has got to step back and then let Jonathan Taylor just run all over. I mean, we saw him get 20-something carries, whatever it was. It was up there in the high teens, if not in the 20s for Jonathan Taylor, but there was no yards with it because, they're stacking the box and Rivers isn't throwing the ball. So he's got one job, and it's not to turn the ball over and just get the ball moving down the field, even if it's just to Tyler Warren 100 times, right? So we might see,
he's got another
line, but
he's got another week of getting that rapport, maybe feeling it out a little bit. I mean,
Those are guys he's never thrown to. Yeah, those are guys he's never thrown to.
You saw it was a good little crossing route to Downs, like to score that touchdown. Like it still looked good. He still threw it right in the exact spot he needs to throw it in to get that touchdown. What sucks is it changes the dynamic of the offense when you don't have that, amazing deep ball to Pittman or to Pierce. Like we talked about, like take your pick. Downs can do it. Pierce can do it. Pittman can do it. Now you literally don't have that deep threat.
So everyone's playing up on you because you can't go deep. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more predictable. So, he's in a losing position right now, but you're right. If he can manage it enough to give them a chance, obviously this is just last week was a better matchup for him here than 49ers. This one's going to be a tough one, especially he gets prime time again. You're literally the last game of the week. Everybody's watching you, but hey,
good for him, man. Good for him. Yeah. That's awesome. Some of his kids, like you said, they were too young to get to see him play when he was, playing. And I also saw something that you'll love, that his 5-year health insurance was up. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So that's a real thing too. Yeah, that's a real thing too. Someone came out and said like that's actually a super smart move because now he's good until 2031 or whatever, or 2030 or some shit like that. It's something crazy. So good for him. Like, taking care of the family and letting his kids see, what his dream was. I mean, that's really cool. A lot of people wouldn't have the guts to do that. They really wouldn't. They would just say no thanks.
Listen, they're gonna make a movie out of this. If he pieces this together, pushes them into the playoffs, and they have a chance, this is gonna be the, what was it? The Kurt Warner story all over again, right? They're gonna make this feel good movie about him if he can just kind of piece it together.
And one of his 10 kids could probably just play him.
That's a great idea. There you go.
Do we just like call it all out? All right. So as you can tell, the pod lay, this is the Matt lay. Matt made both these picks. You can't tell me though, like as viewers though, like you can't tell me right away you guys don't think that Matt made this because you are the number one Trey McBride fan. You have been. Guys. I will say that. Like obviously this year it's easy to be his fan, but you have been a Trey McBride fan for the last 3 years. You just have. I know. You've picked him so many times. And then anytime a Lions player is picked on here, obviously everyone just assumes it's you. St. Brown, you've picked a handful of times. Gibbs. We haven't seen Montgomery. I don't think Montgomery's made the cut this year, even though last year he made the cut quite a bit. But I did message Matt before we started. I said, "Do you trust me on getting a little risky?" And you just said, "How crazy are we gonna get?" And I just sent you the screenshot, and you just typed back, "I love it." And I was like, "We're in. Let's do it." So Jahmyr Gibbs, 2+ touchdowns. I gave you guys the thing. It's a pattern: 3 touchdowns, 0, 3 touchdowns, 0, 0 touchdowns last week. He's getting 2, possibly 3 this week. Matt, you, Trey McBride, anytime touchdown against the Falcons. We love it. Plus 535. We got some juice on this one, okay? $50 wins $317.75. Book it, cash it, buy yourself some Christmas presents on the parlay. Okay?
Yeah. You saw her back to back to back, right? So then now we're hitting it
back to back. So now we're just like Gibbs, right? 3 and then 0 and then 3. Yep. Something like that, right? Awesome episode though. Next week, Matt, Christmas Eve falls on a Wednesday, so we're gonna record Tuesday. I think they have Christmas games. Obviously, I think that's on the schedule. We should have looked at ahead of time, but I'm pretty sure they do. So we'll get it up again probably early, just like we did for the Thanksgiving stuff, because obviously we want you guys to have information, our information if it matters to you, before the games start, not just, oh, hey, the game started and the podcast is out. So we'll get it up a little early. We'll let you guys know, but probably Wednesday at noon instead of Thursday at noon. That would make the most sense. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Week 16, Matt, we only got two more regular seasons of these, man, and then we're jumping straight into playoffs. It's been unbelievable. We have not missed a week. Our socials have been awesome. It's been a wild ride. It really has.
Yep. So and speaking of playoffs, this is the crunch time for your fantasy leagues. Good luck to all your players. May you have success. Hoping I don't burn out, a bright star burning out. I had a great regular season. Hopefully,
you want some hardware behind you, huh?
Yeah, that would be nice. I want that belt. So let's hope I can piece these last 2 weeks together and bring home a championship.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week for Christmas. We might have a little, special. You guys see the thumbnails getting a little Christmassy themed. But we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Later.
See you.